Good evening. Thank you for being with us. This is our weekly current affairs update in English. I'm Leah Hogg. Today we're going to tackle a few topics, and our first one is the US elections. A lot going on there, and we're going to speak with our first guest, Professor Colin Lawrence, who is Emeritus Professor of Columbia University. His topics and speciality are risk and finance and good governance. And thank you very much, Professor Lawrence, for joining us tonight.
Thank you. Pleasure, Larry.
Thank you. I'd like to start with addressing all that's going on in the States. And obviously, we're seeing it on every station we look at. What are the legal implications? Is this going to affect the outcome of the results and the election?
Yeah, look, potentially it could, but I think it's pretty marginal. I think that what President Trump's doing is clutching at straws. Firstly, we haven't finished counting all the ballots, but I'd say it's about 99% certain that Biden, when all the votes are counted, will win the election. And often elections are contested. The famous case is in 2000 when we had the Bush versus Gore. But that was a very different circumstance. It was after the election, and there were a couple of ballots that it wasn't fraud, but they weren't processed correctly. President Trump keeps on saying that there's fraud, but there's absolutely no evidence of fraud anywhere. And I think it's a strategy to invalidate the democratic process. And I believe that the democratic process will prevail. I don't see much hindrance. He might be able to delay it. And Biden hasn't won yet. He's close to winning. If you like, I can tell you a bit about where the state of play is. But I'm saying that it's about 95% certain, given all the results in, he will win this election when the votes are all counted.
I know, as I said, we've seen it on every channel.
Right.
But since we are live today, can we have a quick update on the state of play, as you put it?
Right. I'm not a journalist, as you know, so I can't tell you what's happened in the last hour. In fact, I've been in a meeting the whole day. But basically, the state of play is that he's about 16 votes short that haven't been confirmed yet. And Biden's got a number of possibilities and paths to the presidenthood, whereas Trump has got a very, very virtually impossible hurdle, because outstanding are 7 states. In order to win the election, Trump's got to win all 7 of these states. Now you understand why he'll try anything. At the moment, he's trying something legal, but unfortunately, there isn't anything legal to really protest. So it's legalistic, constitutional, courts, etc., but there's no fraud or anything of that nature. So for Biden, he could win. He's already been given Wisconsin and Michigan, and if he wins Nevada and Arizona, it's all over, game over. Alternatively, he can win Pennsylvania, and it's game all over. He'll go over the 270 required electoral colleges. And also Georgia is in play, and Biden is starting to get seats now to win votes. Now, what's the reason? Before the election, the Democrats, and not only the Democrats, but states, basically wanted to have a all-male election. But their processes, procedures, and it varies from state to state. The state, and there are 50 of them, they control the election. It's not the president, it's the states, okay? First, the legislatures in those states, executed by local executives, and then it could go up to, if there's an issue or dispute, it can go up to the courts in the state, and then the courts can raise it with the federal court, or a plaintiff could take it to the court. But right now, as things now stand, okay, it would be very, very difficult, okay, for Trump to challenge this. So instead, what you're seeing, I think, in my opinion, it's a political charade to try and invalidate the whole process. And imagine in a democratic country, for hundreds of years of democracy, with over 45 presidents elected through the ballot, that Trump's going to try and invalidate it. So it doesn't look good on the Republican Party to do this. They should just count the votes. And in the event that he did win, which is unlikely, very unlikely, I'd say there's less than a 5% chance that that could happen. They should just accept it. But to challenge and stand in the way of democracy and the people, that can lead to widespread violence.
Thank you very much, Professor Lawrence. I'd like to actually refer to the ballots. They're still being received, and this afternoon there was a statement from the state of Nevada who say that they won't announce the final results until the 12th of November. So when do you think we should see the new elected president?
Yeah, you've got to what you have to do it works in two phases usually, except this election is special because of Corona. In the previous elections, you have the election and each state determines what the final scorecard is. They just post it on their websites, and then they take about a month or so to validate, checking very carefully in case there's anything. There's never been an issue ever, except, as I said, in the year 2000. So we were told today we would see the final result in Michigan, but as of yet, we haven't because of these legal hurdles. So the way these legal hurdles are mounted is to protest right now. The protest in Michigan is really funny because they're asking to stop the vote. But actually, if they continued the vote, Trump could win. So he stopped the vote. He's stopping himself from voting. That's why I think not only is it a poorly construed legal case, but I also think it's stupid. He should try and count his votes. But he's stopping it unless he knows more than we do that he definitely will lose.
Can we speak a bit about how all this, dragging it out like this, the legal implications that we're hearing of, the allegations, how is this affecting the financial markets and the US dollar?
Yeah, the financial markets obviously aren't happy because the minute they saw, and it's sort of in the markets that Biden's going to win this at the moment. I mean, by the way, I've just looked now at the market forecasts where you can actually place futures bets on, say, websites such as Betfair, and it's 1 in 14 for a Biden victory. Still, markets aren't happy with any uncertainty, and they would like to see certainty. So I haven't been looking at how much the markets moved up and down, but certainly there is heightened volatility in the markets until this settles down. And there are a couple of reasons for that uncertainty. One is they don't know what's happening. Uncertainty creates market conditions, which lead to uncertainty and illiquidity in markets. And the second thing is whoever wins, which is likely to be Biden, he's got a huge task ahead because the virus has taken off significantly. America getting 100,000 infections, per day. There are 1,000 Americans dying every day. There are over 238,000 Americans are dead. Hospitals are being overwhelmed from coast to coast, particularly now in the Midwest. So it's a very difficult issue, and they've got to resolve it with a proper strategy.
Sure. And another question, Professor Lawrence, the styles of leadership. How would President Biden be different in his style of leadership to Trump?
Right. What Trump does is he creates chaos. He wins by divide and rule and by sowing seeds of fear. He's a charismatic leader. He's not been successful in implementing some robust, serious policies, such as infrastructure investment, such as a medical health plan, which is his main goal has been to try and destroy everything his predecessor Obama put in place, such as Medicare, which is actually quite popular. And also, he basically never told the truth to the American people. He lied. We already know from the book by Woodward that basically he knew already in his own words, okay, on audio, that he knew how bad and dangerous the virus was. It can mutate, and it's also a bubble and can spread that quickly, yet he didn't do anything. And now he's in total denial of its existence because it undermines his campaign, or undermined his campaign. So what you're going to see in a Biden administration, Biden isn't a charismatic leader. He's older. He's like 78 or something like that. Nevertheless, he beat 15 other Democrats to be elected as their leader. But the way he operates, he was 45 years in the Senate, and he has been, 8 years as Obama's vice president. He's a very consensual leader. He leads across the aisle. He will work together with the Republicans. He's not a sort of party. He's already made announcements, and I believe them because I've seen him in action. He'll work together with Republicans to try and, number one, get rid of the virus, and try and put up policies in place that are good for Americans, such as getting Medicare for all. The details need to be worked out, but pre-existing conditions need to be sorted out. There are a lot of people that are very vulnerable with diabetes, with all sorts of things, with heart conditions and so on. And he will reach across the aisle, that's his style, and work together with the Republicans. So what you're going to see is a much more concerted America. You're also going to see Biden's America would basically get back to where Obama was. So, for example, NATO, America will be a very big supporter of NATO. America will bolster all international institutions, including the ICC, the IMF, the World Bank, and so on. He also basically, to do climate, he will re-sign. Actually, today is the day, or yesterday, the Paris Accord expires. America unilaterally withdrew from the Paris Accord. To lose America from the Paris Accord is a disaster for the world, because it opens up the door for China to start leading international institutions. So America now will start being a check and balance. We won't see, I think they will have a word with China where they will agree on what they can do together on international trade and on other issues like strategy around Taiwan, around Chinese shipping, around Hong Kong. I reckon Biden will choose a Secretary of State who will be able to negotiate that and realize it's competition. There's cooperation on some things and there's disagreement on other things.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Professor Lawrence. Very briefly, we've only got half a minute. How will the new presidency affect the EU?
I think, in a way, very positively. I think I would see a guy like Biden persuading the British to move together with the EU. So things like Brexit, you can't renege because now the United Kingdom is signing a treaty, but it'll say, please work together. The United States will help facilitate it. But the US have got no interest in just signing a quick, rapid, unilateral deal to boost Brexit. They'd rather see an integrated EU. They'll also help the EU into regards to any, let's say, Russia threatening the EU or threatening the Ukraine or any of that. I see the United States starting to go back to its traditional role. I don't say it will be a Cold War, but it will be much more forceful against any adversaries of the EU.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much for joining the program, Professor Lawrence. Thank you. We're going for a very short break, and I'll be with you very soon.